Hi, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the Merkur Progress how to dial in your shave video. I've loaded this up with an Astra blade and I've just come off cutting my hair, doing the how to cut your own hair in 5-minute clipper video. So I'm going to be using the Limes and Bergamot by Maggards. I've never used this before, and let's talk a little bit more about shaving. I always like to smell my creams. I'm trying to get used to the camera. I've got a really cheap setup. I'm not pro. And disclosure, I'm not paid for anything, and I've bought all my products myself, so you're just getting an honest review. What I make up in lack of professionalism and setup, I make up in honesty. So this smells really, really good. Definitely lime and bergamot. It's just a really balanced smell. And normally I take about a gram of cream or a little bit less soap, and that's what I like to do. Today I'm going to be using the Mocha by Yaki synthetic. It's my favorite brush. I've been using this in nearly all my videos. I have other brushes here and elsewhere, but I really like this. I just love the style. I just can't get over this design and this color. Yeah, Yaki have done well. So I'm wanting the synthetic. It doesn't need to soak, and I like to knock out the water. Now normally I don't actually squeeze the water out. I just shake it. I give it a couple of good shakes, and that way I'm ready to go. And because this is a crope, it's between a soap and a cream, and it's quite firm, I don't apply this to the brush. I put that straight into the bowl and mash it in there. So I've got my favorite bowl, and I'm just mashing it in to the side of the bowl. Obviously, the more surface area there is, the easier it is to lather, rather than leave it in a big glob. So I take, I'm going to have to get used to this camera now. So I take, and I just work it. Okay, I'm going to wet my face and add a little bit more water. And in my videos, you'll see me massaging my face. And the reason why I massage my face with the water is to try to hydrate the whiskers and hydrate the skin and get everything nice and soft, and also the oils, my natural oils across my face. So I've just added a few more drops of water into my lather. And this is the way I like to do a brush and bowl lather, because that way I can get a really controlled lather before applying to my face. That's perfect. That scent is really nice. I'm not sure if this is used, they're using fragrance oils for this, or they're using essential oil, but I just bought the sample size. Okay. So let's feel how lubricating that is. That's really good. So what I usually do is I just run my finger against the bowl and I push quite firmly to see how slick it is, and then I rub it on my skin, and if it's got good slickness, we're good to go. So you don't need a lot of cream or soap to get, I think this will probably get me, if I wanted to, 5 or 6 passes. Bergamot is really coming through now. Let's feel that. It's a bit dry. Add a bit more water. we're good to go. Okay, so dialing in your shave. Let's talk a little bit about this. So the Merkur Progress is an adjustable razor. And if you've received a razor for the first time, don't try to be, a Hulk and, switch it up to level 5. You want to start at exactly, I recommend starting at the bottom. Start with 0 or half or whatever it is. Pop in a mild blade. A lot of guys, they want to stick a feather in straight away. If you're used to a feather and you're experienced, then go for it. Personally, I don't like feather blades. I have feather blades. I still have a couple of tucks of those, and they're not my favorite. I like Astra, I like Persona Reds. For me, they give me a better shave, and I'm less prone to cutting myself using them. And I try to avoid nicks and scrapes and weepers. A little bit about why you should dial in your shave, especially when using an adjustable razor. An adjustable razor, I find that the angle is pretty much the same, but the gap changes. So this means that the jaws where the safety bar is lower down. So as I open it up, let's see if I can capture that on camera. As I open it up, what it's doing is this plate, it's moving the top plate up. The plates are separating. And as I dial it up back to 0, the plates are closing down. So the gap between the blade and the safety bar are decreased. Now, it means that you've got the safety bar here and you've got the blade that protrudes out. And depending on how far the blade protrudes out, what happens is as they separate, more skin will be able to kind of roll into that gap. And that's not necessarily a good thing. Sometimes having a tighter gap and the relative blade exposure, if it's a positive blade exposure and having a smaller gap or a neutral, you might find you get a better shave from that. So it's not, the blade gap is not necessarily, it's spoken about, but it's all relative to blade angle and blade exposure for me. So it's getting a bit dry, I'm talking a lot. So let's check that out. It's getting a bit dry. Let's just wet it a bit. So let's start on half and let's see whether that starts cutting. And then we can see, hey, maybe we want to adjust it. So last time I cut it on, I used a 3. And the answer is, yes it does. And it gives a nice, smooth, mild shave. And it's very efficient. Okay, let's see if the camera can capture that. So a half will do the job fine, and I've got coarse stubble. And this is set, let's see if I can show you the dot. It's set on the lowest setting. So let's switch it round to the other side. And I'll just rinse that off. And what you're seeing here is also another thing, is you see, let's see if I can capture that. The lather channel here is relatively empty, and most of the lather is just going to the underside of the razor. So this thing cuts very well on just the half. It's mild and it's not taking away all the whiskers, so it's just reducing the stubble. Let's have a feel. And yeah, it's just reduced the amount of stubble on my face. It's still a lot of stubble left, and that's fine. I mean, if you need to do 3 passes, my skin's not irritated. There's plenty of cushion on that soap. So let's go for our second pass. You can see that's a nice amount of lather. And make yourself really pretty for the camera. Okay, now I'm going laterally. And even with all that said and done, I still have a little weeper. Let's have a feel. And that's removed a good deal more hair. Now, my recommendation is, if you do have a little weeper or something like that, or you cut yourself, immediately take a styptic. This is a little bit left of a styptic that I dropped. And just zap him. So that way when you do your third pass, there's not going to be blood all over your cream. Yeah, wet your styptic first. Anyway, third pass, let's see how we go. That's a great scent. Good to go. We're going to go vertically. And it's a good idea at this point to say that these razors are not perfectly symmetrical. So I think that there's a bit more blade exposure on one side to the other. It's small, but it's still noticeable when I'm shaving now. And you can hear just through the sound that these things are not, you can often have a more aggressive side or shave on one side of the razor than the other. Just doing a little touch up now. I like that. So first hot water. Soak it, then cold. Having a look just under the nose. I've got a little bit more hair. Just that's it. Now that tiny, I think that's still bleeding. You can barely see it. So I'm just going to zap it with a styptic again if I can find it. Somewhere around here. Just see. I think there's no more real. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's have a feel. Yeah, that feels good. Okay, wipe the face. And let's apply our toner. I like to use the tea tree and witch hazel. Just it has antiseptic antibacterial properties to it. I'm going to get better at these videos, hopefully. And hopefully you can see how filthy that is. This is why you should always use a pad. Yeah. Next, let's apply some moisturizer. Lime. What am I going to use? I think I have that sample from Maggards. Here we go. This is the essential skin food that I bought from Geo Trumpers. Lime skin food. 3 squirts of that. It's got menthol in it. I've used this before. And there we go. Nice clean shave. Again, it's not super close because I used the lower setting, but that's a close, comfortable shave plus. And it's good, it's good. And then what you want to do after you've used the half setting, the next shave, move to a 1, then move to a 2, then move to a 3. And then afterwards, what you can do is say you want to start on a 3, and then you can move back down to say a 1.5 for your second or third pass. So you can go from more aggressive to less aggressive, depending on how much growth you have and depending on how your technique is. But a lower, more mild shave, you're less prone to nicking yourself and cutting yourself. And I think that's an important point. So, you know, being a hero and putting it on a high aggression with the highest possible blade, I don't think is the best way to go. I think you start with a more mild blade and a more mild razor, more mild setting, and then you work your way up. It's like a haircut. You can't put the hair back once you've cut it. So once you've nicked and left your face ravaged, you know, it can take days for everything to heal. So start gently and then slowly dial it up. And so tomorrow, maybe I'll do another shave, maybe on a 1 or 1.5, and we'll see whether I get a better result. Today, it's a close, comfortable shave. It's much better than what you'd get with any cartridge or any multi-blade system, and no irritation at all. The slickness of the soap is really important to have nice, slick, rich, lubricating soap. So the Merkur, It's not my favorite razor by any means, but it is a good razor. The Feather Popular, that's a terrible razor. I wouldn't recommend that, but this is okay. You can dial it up, you can dial it down, and it looks really, for me, that's a beautiful look to a razor. Yeah, so if you own this, you know, it's a good one. If you're interested in buying it, that's your decision to make. But yeah, it's part of my collection, and I'm not getting rid of that anytime soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.